Good evening and welcome to yet another episode of Healthy Living on NCDOHTV, brought to you by the Northern Cape Department of Health. I'm Ncdoh, the man with the Midas touch, and this is the final episode for 2024. We've brought you many episodes trying to educate you and inform you about your health. And we hope that you've picked up on something there and you've actually implemented some of the tips that we've been giving you on this program. Today, the 18th of December 2024, we will resume once again next year on the 22nd of January 2025. We are speaking to yet another health professional. It's a diabetes educator. We're talking about Lesetedi, who's in studio, and we're going to talk about what is diabetes and how to treat diabetes and so forth. Mr. Lesetedi, good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Malik. Thank you for having me here.
It's really a pleasure to have you here. And I've seen one of your presentations when you are, presenting about diabetes, and I said, wow, that is the information that our people out there, our communities must find out and have, so that we can at least minimize the risk or prevent the risks of diabetes. First and foremost, what is diabetes?
Diabetes is a metabolic disorder where there is high blood sugar in the blood because the pancreas is secreting insufficient insulin, or the body cells doesn't utilize the insulin appropriately.
So does that mean that your body is generating too much of the glucose or sugar, and which your body does not need, in a layman's term?
What it means is your body is producing insulin,
okay,
but it's not sufficient. It's not enough, and sometimes it is enough, but your body is not utilizing it. You're having insulin resistance. Yes, that which is common amongst older people and obese people.
All right, yeah. Makes sense. Now, what would be the signs and symptoms of diabetes? What our communities, what must they look at or identify in a notion to trigger the sense of wanting help from the health system?
A person will feel thirsty a lot. A person will feel hungry most of the time. A person will always, maybe at night, usually at night, have pus urine, a lot of urine. And sometimes they might have even blurred vision. And sometimes they might even have a source or that doesn't heal easily. And they might even also present with thrush, penile or vaginal thrushes.
And that is a sign of, could be a sign of diabetes.
Yes, could be the sign of diabetes. And once you experience that, go to your professional or check your sugar levels.
Now, I've heard that there's different types of diabetes. What are those types?
Commonly, we have type 1, which is common amongst young people below the age of 35, which are using, mostly that person will use insulin. We have type 2, which is commonly found on older people and obese people. And we have gestational, which is found on women who are pregnant.
So why then, in some cases of diabetes, the removal of limbs, amputations?
Diabetes is affecting a lot of most part of our bodies. It affects things like our blood vessels and major blood vessels, those which are mostly found on our limbs. And because insulin damages the linings of our blood vessels, at times there is minimal blood flow to the limbs. And once the limbs suffer from not getting sufficient oxygen, they end up dying. And that is because sugar or glucose in our blood line up the lumen and narrow the canal of our blood vessels.
Blood vessels.
Yes.
Now, what is supposed to happen in a normal person?
A normal person who doesn't have diabetes, remember we have hormones that control diabetes. Your sugar level. We have hormones in the gut which are called GLI-1 and GIP, which are incretins. They are in the gut, in the intestines and the stomach. We have hormones also in your pancreas, which is insulin and amylin in the beta cells. And in the alpha cells, we have glucagon. And then we have other hormones, which are called stress hormones, which are found in the kidney, the cortisol, and the epinephrine. Those are the ones that controls your sugar. But now, in a normal person, what's supposed to happen is when you eat food, the message, the GLP and the GIP send the message to the pancreas that there is food there in the stomach. Release insulin so that that sugar that is coming should go to the vital organs. That is where it's needed. And immediately, this is in a normal person. And you find that in a normal person, during a fasting period, your sugar, your insulin level is low. And the glucagon, which is found in the beta cells, in the alpha cells, it should be high when you are fasting. So in a diabetic person, even if you're having food, your sugar level is high because a distorted message is sent to your pancreas that to release glucagon. And this glucagon is the one that sends the message to the liver to release a stored glucose, which is saved for later use when you are fasting. So hence you're getting double dose of glucose from your food and from the stored one. Hence you have diabetes. Hence you have a high sugar level.
What do we then say is the normal sugar level of a normal human being without diabetes?
The normal sugar level should be below 5 when you are not fasting. And we mostly, this you can determine when you are waking up in the morning, when you test the sugar level, when it's above 6.2, you know that you have impaired fasting. Then you must be suspicious that you should seek medical help so that they can do what we call glucose tolerance test to test if your uptake of sugar is controlled.
Now, you find people saying, I suffer from low sugar level, low sugar or blood sugar. What does that mean?
Low sugar levels is brought in by people who are, it's either you are fasting or you taking your medication is high, or the medication that you're taking, you don't balance it with your food. Because you see, with diabetes, you should know how much you eat to your treatment. There are certain medications that can bring your sugar low. For instance, we have the medication which is said to be the bigonides, metformin, which is usually we start patients with. And we have sulfonylureas, which are that medication. It encourages the pancreas the sulfonylureas encourages the pancreas to produce more insulin. And then when a person is on this medication, they tend to have high sugar levels. Hypoglycemia, low sugar levels, especially when they skip meals, when they don't snack in between to boost their sugar levels.
Now, earlier on, you spoke about the types of diabetes. Which one would be the more dangerous or severe one?
The more dangerous one, which is costing the Department of Health a lot of money, is type 2, because it's a silent killer. You go for years not noticing that you are having a type 2 diabetes, because The signs only comes when there is a damage. You start feeling like going to toilet frequently at night when your kidneys, the threshold of your kidneys cannot tolerate it anymore, and it's over a period. And when you start now having sores, it's over the period, and blood visions, it's over a period. And it also affects, you will be hospitalized for many times, and at the end, it's progressive. It doesn't stand on a certain point. It's progressive. But then the type 1, you instantly get diagnosed. You collapse, your sugar level, it's high, you get ketones, and then once you are hospitalized, they realize you have diabetes. It happens, the diagnosing of a type 1 diabetes is very quicker than a type 2 diabetes.
All right. We'll continue the conversation when we come back from an ad break. That's Mr. Lesetedi that we're chatting to, who is a diabetes educator at the Robert Mangaliso Sobukwe Hospital in Kimberley. And now we know the signs. We know the different types. Be part of the conversation. We'll come back after this break and we'll continue the conversation with Lesetedi. We'll be right back.
Love them the right way. You have a role to play. Use a condom and stop the spread of HIV and AIDS.
And welcome back on Healthy Living on NCDOHTV, brought to you by the Northern Cape Department of Health. We are chatting to Mr. Lesetedi, who is a diabetes specialist at Robert Mangaliso Sobukwe Hospital, and we are chatting about diabetes. They call it the silent killer alongside hypertension, high blood pressure. These are silent killers, but diabetes, we are chatting about that right now. We've been chatting about the different types of diabetes. Lesetedi was explaining to us which one is more dangerous, which is type 2, and what happens when somebody is diagnosed with diabetes in the body, what should happen in a normal person's body. Now, Lesetedi, what are the risk factors of diabetes?
Yeah, risk factors of diabetes could be family history. Hypertension is a risk factor to diabetes, and people who, if you are having anybody in your family, it's family related. Also, you are at risk of developing hypertension. And obese people, and also with women who are pregnant if they are obese, and also people with ladies with polycystic ovarian syndromes, they are at risk of developing diabetes. And the list is long. Yeah.
Now, earlier on, you mentioned some few complications like
Yes.
amputation, and what are more risks or complications of diabetes?
Yeah. Complications of diabetes, we have acute and chronic. Acute, it will be polyuria, having more urine, sugar in your bloodstream, and polypharmacy and so on. And the chronic, it could be when the sugar now has advanced into attacking your blood vessels, major blood vessels, and also attacking your finer blood vessels, which is microvascular complication, which will affect your eyes. You will start feeling numb and losing sensations, neuropathy, and also people are prone to possibly have strokes and amputations because of the large blood vessels which are involved.
Now, why is the blood glucose level rise when a diabetic is sick?
Yeah. There is what we call osmolar diuresis. That is shifting. Osmosis is a movement of molecules from higher concentration to lower concentration. So when you are a diabetic, your sugar will rise because you have what we call stress hormones. Stress hormones will increase your sugar because it's trying to save your life by giving you more sugar. And also, come up again with the question.
The high level of the blood glucose, yes, when a diabetic is sick, why does it rise?
Okay, yes. And the people who they tend to vomit when you're sick, and you don't eat well when you're sick, and hence now you're not going to have enough calories, and you are losing a lot of electrolytes. So, and this sugar also, the glucose in your blood, because you're losing a lot of fluid, it becomes more in your blood. Yeah.
Now, with hypertension, earlier on you spoke about hypertension.
Yes.
Why high blood pressure is common in people with diabetes? What is the relation?
Yeah. The relationship is because they share, diabetes and hypertension, they share common risk factors. For instance, lifestyle, obesity, um, um, and people who are smoking. Remember, smoking is decreasing your is a vasoconstrictor, cigarette, so it will shrink your blood vessels, hence your blood pressure will go high. And also during is like we spoke earlier on osmotic diuresis, you lose during diabetes, you lose a lot of fluids. And when you lose a lot of fluids in your bloodstream, the sugar stays there, and it makes your blood thick. The viscosity of blood goes high and increasing your blood vessels. And again, in diabetes damages your blood vessels, the same as hypertension damages your blood vessels. Therefore, the blood vessels cannot control, because they lose their elasticity. They cannot control your blood pressure. It is found on both.
Now, how do we then care for a diabetic patient? I heard this yesterday, the orthopedic strategy. I'm like, yeah, I'm getting educated. Yeah. So how do we care for a diabetic patient using that strategy?
Yes. As professionals, including patients also, we should be aware of it's a reminder checklist using the ABC, D, E, F. The A is advice. You give advice to the patient about diet, lifestyle, smoking, driving. Mostly we ignore driving. We happen to forget about advising our patients on driving. Remember, you're losing during the neuropathy, you're losing sensation. And you might think you are on a brake, but you are on a accelerator, and you can cause accident. And even your vision is affected. So if you are a healthcare provider, find out if this person has been tested on those areas. That is the advice that you give. And also you advise your patient on a structured education, which means you structure your care in such a way that you cover everything. And then P is maintenance of blood pressure. B is for blood pressure. Your blood pressure should be less than 140 over 80 if there's no risk of renal damage. But if there is a risk of renal damage, we must be more strict. It should be 130 over 80. And then also, we must look after the kidneys during that period. If you have health care professional, make sure that you take certain blood to monitor the kidney of this person, like ACR, albumin creatinine ratio from the urine, to check if the kidneys are functioning well. You can also do basically that, and check the proteins if there's no proteins in the urine. And then we have C, which is cholesterol. Make sure that you check the cholesterol of this patient, because it's putting the patient at risk of having coronary heart diseases and also amputations, because the lipids line up, like I said earlier, or lines up the lumen of the blood vessels and narrow them, and hence diminish blood supply to the area, to the heart, to the feet, and so on. That is number C. And your cholesterol level should be less than, the total cholesterol should be less than 4%. We have 3 types of lipograms, which is the good fat, which is the HDL, low density, and then we have the LDL, which is the low density, and the triglycerides. We should try to make sure that the HDL is always high. The HDL is mostly found on vegetables, but the LDL is the fat that we get from animals, which is the bad fat. Any fat that you put there and it becomes hard, like malamogodu and so on, you must know it's a bad fat. But try to, make sure that if you're a healthcare professional, you send your patient to that test. And also liver functioning test, you must do it, because this person is going to be put on statins, and they are metabolized in the liver. So if there is something wrong with the liver, it might not work, or it will make the condition of the liver worse. So for baseline, when you receive the patient, you must make sure that you also check that. We are on CD, it's diabetic control. Teach your patient to test, self-testing, and have the history of your patient. What is he taking? Which meals does he take? When to test, if you need to investigate anything. And then GE is eyes. Your patient must be tested for eyes. Make sure that you send your patient to an ophthalmologist. And if you're a patient, know these things so that you can also demand that care from your healthcare professional, that you forgot to refer me to the ophthalmologist so that I can check my eyes. That's E. F is a food care. Like we are preventing those amputations and delaying because diabetes is progressive, like I said earlier on. We delay complications. So if you check your patient's feet regularly, showing your patient what to look for and how to look after the feet. If I can go through that, we might have the whole day here. But neuropathy, the neurons, sensations of the feet, you check that and you make sure that the patient keep the feet moist. You check also the blood supply on the patient. You also check the type of feet deformity, and so on. And then the last one, which is G, guardian drug. We have certain drugs that we benefit from them and which are having very little side effects. For instance, aspirin. Aspirin is a good drug, but you must be careful how you take it also, and certain conditions you should avoid. For instance, you must make sure that you don't have ulcers, your blood pressure is well controlled. If you go to the doctor or to the clinic, tell them that you are on treatment in case you go to for surgery, because you remember aspirin is an anticoagulant. It makes your blood flow, not to clot. So when you are going for surgery, we need your blood to clot. Then if you tell them in time, they will stop you from that drug for a certain period. But it is helpful because it will prevent you from having clots, which are responsible also for amputations and blocking your heart and blocking your blood vessels in your brain to have strokes. There are drugs like AC inhibitors, which is Nopril, all those that has got hypertension. Those drugs are good to prevent further damage of the kidneys, early damage of the kidneys. You are given those drugs when you're still having microalbuminuria. Thank you.
Very, very informative.
Yes.
And I hope that the viewers at home have taken something in terms of, preventing diabetes. Healthy lifestyle, eat healthy. We spoke about it. Plant vegetables in your yard. Look after them. It's so refreshing to water your own garden. But thank you so much for coming through. There was Lesetedi, who's a diabetes educator from Robert Mangaliso Sobukwe Hospital in Kimberley. And of course, I just hope that you've picked up on a lot what causes diabetes and how to actually live your lifestyle when you have diabetes. Even though you don't have diabetes, this is your chance not to get diabetes by living healthy, eating healthy, and exercising. And this is what we've been preaching. Remember, the responsibility of your health lies squarely on your shoulder. This program is there to educate you so that you pick up those best practices of living healthy. This is our final episode, as I said in the beginning of the program, for 2024. We'll resume again with our first program, fresh, bright and breezy, on the 22nd of January 2025. Now, if you're going on holiday, be safe. Still continue eating healthy, continue with your routine of exercising and living a healthy lifestyle. Be safe on the roads. Remember, speed kills. Buckle up. Those safety belts will save your life one day. So let's be careful. Let's keep to the speed limit and have a joyous Christmas and a prosperous New Year. Till we meet again in 2025. 22nd of January. I'm Ncdoh. This has been a wonderful time in 2024. Remember to like and share this program once again, even in next year, on Facebook and on YouTube. Is Healthy Living, brought to you by the Northern Cape Department of Health. It's been a bliss bringing you all these guests from the Northern Cape Department of Health and informing you. I'm Ncdoh. See you next year. Bye-bye. Be safe.